Hello, everyone, and welcome to Revolution Esports. We at Revolution are excited to bring you another season and now a post-season of Overwatch play and our third season of playoffs. Right now, tonight we're bringing you a GM match between Torbulance and 6ixGuns. This will be the finalists of the GM game as the rest of the divisions have finished their bracket. I am Paul. I'm going to be the host for this pregame show that we're bringing you live before our 8 p.m. tip-off, if you will, of our GM game alongside Maddie, who will be our color commentator for that game, and our analyst for this pregame show, Rins and Temporal. So we're going to lead this off with a little bracket review of where we are and how we got here. So in the Division 3 bracket postseason so far, that ended this week, and Golden Roses came out the winner. Temp was on the call for that, and so he has our review.
Oh, wow. So Division 3 had quite an extensive play into the finals. So many teams in that division made the playoffs, and Golden Roses and Waypoint Opacity were the finalists. Of course, Paul mentioned Golden Roses took out the cup. Both of them managed to get on the way to the final, though Waypoint Opacity took down the top seed in the division, wasted potential. So this matchup looked very close on paper, and it delivered when it came to the match as well. This is a match that went to 6 maps. I know we're playing first to three, best of five, however you want to call it. It went to all 6 maps. We had a draw on Volskaya, which led us to play 2 control maps at the end. And even then, at the end, that last control map, we played Oasis. It went to all 3 rounds, and it went to 99 to 99 on the very last map of the match. This match was so nail-bitingly close. The final fight went for a minute and a half. That is how close this match was. But in the end, Golden Roses able to pull it out, pull themselves out of the fire, really, capture the point, and take home the championship. It was a fantastic match to watch, and I recommend you go back and watch the VOD, at least of that last Oasis map.
Absolutely. And if we can catch that lightning in a bottle tonight, man, well, we would be in for such a great match. So moving on to Division 2 play and the finals for that, the Cause Gaming was our winner for that bracket, and Rins has that account.
I was specking that match as well, not as a caster, but sitting on the sidelines as one of the subs for Helios. It was a close matchup here. Helios came into this final playoffs as the top seed, basically going on a 6-game winning streak up to the finals. But the Cause Gaming, the winners of this final bracket, they started from the first game. They were able to win every single match all the way up to the finals, and they were basically. I'm not sure what they did, but it seems that what they had was enough for bringing the victory, and they were able to come to Div 2 champions.
And what an incredible series and end to that bracket. Meanwhile, in Division 1, a familiar winner at the end, Chocobros completing their three-peat. And so Temp has that account on the repeat winner.
So Choco Bros, no stranger to being in the Division 1 finals, as you've just alluded to, and they made short work of it. It was a 3-0, but it does not do Shinigami justice, that scoreline. Each map was so close. There was one or two plays each map that if they'd gone the other way, Shinigami would have taken it out. So got to be heartbreaking for them, but congratulations to Choco Bros. They've shown why they are the Division 1 champions repeatedly. They put on a great performance, so coordinated, and particularly not always running what is, the standard meta at the moment. Running a lot of Winston, which these days you don't see much of, but Ignored Pie was doing such a fantastic job on that hero. It's no surprise they came out on top.
That versatility really being a great factor and a great part and component of how they've been three-time champions. And so that brings us to tonight. So we've gone through Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, and that leaves our Grand Master bracket. We begin with No Weaver Academy and Voltage, and we are ending now with Turbulence and 6ixGuns Gaming. I'm going to welcome Maddie in here to begin our preview with one of our clips of 6ixGuns and to bring us into an analysis of this action.
Yeah, for sure. And tonight we're going to be seeing two teams that have been fighting hard till the end, coming together for our finale of the GM bracket. And Turbulence, they will be the first team I talk about today, as they are a new and improved roster going into this matchup here, as they have a new comm structure, revamped team play, everything really. Their goals staying the same, however, which is to win OD, push higher, more practice, and more coaches as well. So looking over at their OD stats, they came out with a 7-3 record. So definitely not too shabby there. 26th in the entire standings with that record. And then going over to 6ixGuns, you're seeing first, worth mentioning for sure, it is Don Tony's birthday. Just have to make that very clear here. They've been together a little over a year, known for their unorthodox comps and aggressive playstyle, and in OD, they're doing the exact same thing, which is just trying to make it to the top. They actually had a 6-4 record, which placed them at 56 in this open division. And tonight we'll be seeing hopefully some more of Riri, who, going over to that clip on the Tracer on Oasis, actually just really was mopping the floor. And I mean, that was a game in the 7th week of our tournament here against No Weaver, and it was coming down to the wire. You were looking at a 99-99 situation, and really Riri clutched up. So I'm assuming we're going to punch it over to that clip now. On this one, but Legola with the Valkyrie ending, that might be a big deal here. If Riri might be able to finish off on that Tracer damage that came through, but either way, Riri finding the pick on a Spice, and 6ixGuns, they might be actually flipping this one, and Riri finding yet another pick, the MVP of this fight for sure, and the flip coming through. 87%.
Riri on that Tracer performing some absolute heroics, picking so many people there. As a lot, it seemed a lot. All for 6ixGuns, the reverse sweep seemed doomed. But it's Savvy going down lane. Oh,
Riri doing such a good job taking out Savvy as well here, and it's looking to be an advantage for 6ixGuns, but it doesn't matter because the beat drop's gonna come through. Riri, yet another Kaori going down, and this ball trying to stall things out, and Spice will be fighting the pick on a death, but as long as Riri's alive, they might be in a tough spot. The bomb coming through, and Yamitra finding a pick on the Cyclops, and Riri's Tracer finding yet another pick. 3 in this fight, trying to make it 4. The pulse bomb! Riri popping off. Savvy going down as well.
Oh my gosh!
Out on this one, but Legola with the Valkyrie.
And so as we watch this back, so when we think in terms of the bans, especially with no McCree, no May, no Brig, what do you think is gonna, that we see in this clip is really gonna play in Riri and 6ixGuns' favor for tonight?
Well, I mean, for sure, with no Brig, you're going to see just aggressive play coming out probably once again. And obviously, any opportunity to get Riri onto that Tracer after watching some of these clips and that match against No Weaver, and especially some of their playoff matchups, we want to see more of that dive play. And obviously, 6ixGuns able to throw whatever they can at you. That's one of the things that they like to stick to, is that just kind of, I guess, sporadic play style where they just bring out a bunch of different heroes. So definitely a good look there to see just like the potential they have in these overtime fights when they play those speedy characters to really flip that fight, because they were down so many people at one point and they were able to, stall it out with a bit of the Pharah Mercy as well as a Tracer play from Riri to just come back into that. And with pick after pick, really, I mean, it's just, that's the explosiveness that we can see from this team. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to look at tonight.
And so with that, we'll look at a second clip here that Renz has prepared for us, and we're going to take another look at 6ixGuns before diving a bit more into Torbulance's plan of attack.
Defend objective A. Coming out here as well. Don't see anybody here, and now here comes the pounce onto the front line here. With that Sigma, with that Brig, and with that Lucy holding aggressive well. Winston already going down on the side of Voltage here. Another couple picks coming in as well. Seems like this aggressive hold did work out perfectly for them, and with this going to be literally chasing Voltage back into spawn here. Seems like Diva, I assume. Yeah, Diva right there. Ivy is able to get out and reset here. With this, the strategy does basically prevent the first one coming out here, and with this, they're going to be able to get a little more ult percentage on their side of the team here with that aggressive hold here. And with this, Destruction goes onto the Winston here, going from a stable comp with that May, and then with that Lucio, May, and with that pick coming in. And with this, it seems like they just needed that anti-dive combo with Zsor and Soul here coming in, picking up all the tanks here, picking up a couple of here. Death trying to clutch out as well as Lucio heals coming in. Pulse Bomb coming in, picking up Jam. It seems that 6ixGuns might have lost most of their team here, but they're still rocking out Death with them. Death and Hidden Shadow here, basically holding the Voltage team just by themselves here, with Klee here speeding them around, trying to keep them up as much as possible.
And so we see a lot of excellent Tracer and Doomfist play. So Renz, what sort of things do you expect? Do you expect a repeat of that? Or do you think they'll just bring back some of those concepts for tonight's matchup?
Well, for the current bans, we're following the OD ban, so break is banned here. They use in a different way, but so far, 6ixGuns has brought out only that Doomfist Tracer on Riri and Death, that combo in their previous matches up so far. And as you saw, they bring out the unorthodox strats, bring the half dive, half brawl comps out. They don't have the break for that comp themselves, but I'm expecting these kind of strats for 6ixGuns to come out as well. They ran both of them as well. They ran the Ryan Zarya for most of their matches as well. So it seems they're looking for a more of a aggressive style comp, more the picks as well. And as you saw this clip, and the other one is Death and Riri on their respective characters are a deadly force to be reckoned with.
For sure, and we have to expect Death and Riri to be focal points of any game plan that 6ixGuns draws up tonight. Next, we'll begin to start looking into Torbulance, as we've covered 6ixGuns so far, and so we'll open up with a clip that Tempet will review, and we'll go to the clip now.
But only guys, the grab comes out early.
Oh, what a Prodigy grenade! Hits two, and hammer kill. Essel takes Prodigy out of the fight. The turret finishes off Cowrie as well.
But only guys, the grab comes out early.
So what are we looking at here, Tempet? And how do you think we bring that into tonight's matchup?
So Turbulence, currently they're favouring a more brawly style. You see that Reinhardt up front, comboed with the Zarya or the Diva, depending on what kind of map they're playing on, what they're playing into. But this clip shows they're not only restricted to that play style. They're willing to throw open the gates and let anything go. And I think that's important against 6ixGuns, because 6ixGuns is not a team that's known for sticking strictly to the meta. They're willing to play around. So Turbulence is able to show that they're willing to play around too. They're not going to be beholden to one static meta that may get them in trouble against a team that is as flexible as 6ixGuns.
For sure, and it will be great to see how that sort of plays out as Turbulence gets ready for their matchup tonight. And to continue this coverage with Turbulence, we're going to bring in their coach, Careless. So we're going to welcome him onto the set now. Careless, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
We're doing great here, and so we're gonna just sort of pass this around the panel here and each give you a question. We're very clearly instructed, no softballs tonight, so we're gonna really, we're really gonna give you the great questions here. So when you're thinking of a matchup like 6ixGuns, we know that they are very versatile and how they have different comps. How do you prepare your team to go up against things that might not be very orthodox?
So there's really two concepts that a team has to apply when fighting any other team that's not running meta, and they don't run meta. It's adaptation, which means how do we adjust our composition to maintain its base functionality, and then there's identifying the enemy team's win condition. We have to understand how they're looking to make their composition work. Are they taking fights slow? Are they spamming out? Are they looking for flanks? Are they looking for isolations? There's a lot of different strategies. It's innumerable the number of strategies that you could go for, and breaking their win condition is how a meta team has to do that. So meta is the way it is for a reason, because it's the most optimal, most consistent way of running the game. Does it mean that on any one specific map it is the best possible composition? No. And 6ixGuns is really good at running the exact optimal composition for any specific map. They're that kind of adaptable.
Alrighty, and my next question for you is: we've seen Turbulence take a very aggressive approach in the past against some of the teams that they've gone up against. So what I have to ask you here is that something you're still looking to do? Obviously, that's something that's worked for you in the past. So do you want to continue that here, or do you think with the way that 6ixGuns plays, it might be safer to take a more reserved approach? What do you think is the overall best shot at really locking this one down tonight?
So every team ever should look to be the aggressive, proactive team. If you wait for the enemy team to take their action, you've already started the fight at a disadvantage. You should always look to do your thing before they get to do their thing. It sounds kind of forehead, but it's by far and away the best way to run a team. So yeah, as far as are we going to maintain aggression? Yes. even more so against compositions we don't understand, because we have to get in there and we have to make fights happen to figure out how their compositions work.
Next up, I will be with a couple more questions myself. You guys were able to bring out the Torbjorn only on the last map. I've been keeping a little bit closer eye on the Overwatch League as such, and I've seen more Torbjorn with that Reaper being run on you during the games. You've been running more of the Doomfist Reaper yourself, but in Overwatch League, it seems that the Torbjorn versus the Doomfist has been a little more aggressive. Are you guys gonna be sticking to that Doomfist, or is there a particular cause as to switch over on Essel on that Torbjorn?
So it's kind of funny. Day one of this hero ban, I theorized double shotgun. Like I just had I don't know, an instinct for it. We've been running an OD, and 2 of our map wins were on double shotgun actually today against Sosic. Like, double shotgun is very legitimate. What it allows is the bubbles don't have to go to the Reaper who's teleporting the backline. The bubble can go on Reinhardt, and the 2 shotguns just focus on blowing away the front line. And, depending on the composition you're facing, if you're able to just shut down the enemy front line, it's very much a valid composition. And then Torb's ultimate is pretty awesome. Like, it's pretty versatile. There's a lot of ways it can be used. It can cut off entry points. It can find eliminations in Graviton. It can peel and cause like threat cover against an enemy investment. Like, he's strong. He's really strong, and he's strong against Doomfist specifically because he's unlikely to be one shot if he's able to overload.
Yeah, you guys have been beautiful with the basics, keeping as close to meta as you said earlier before. Um, you guys have been putting a lot of effort into scrims. I'm hearing that you guys scrimming every single day. How do you keep your team just active as such? It must get slightly more boring for them. Is there any kind of special strategies or kind of hints during training you give them to basically keep your team engaged and keep them from tilting as much?
So a big part of that is in roster development. You have to find people that are actually interested in improving, like legitimately interested in improving. Because if you have people that are only, they're in it to maybe get some T3 experience and stuff like that, those aren't the kind of people I want to work with. Like, I work with the people that actually want to improve their gameplay and become better players. And when you have people that are hungry like that, it's really easy to keep them engaged. They, in fact, reach out to you for the engagement.
With that, I think it's going to be temporal with the next couple of questions. Thank you for answering.
Oh, I only have one question. How much effort is put in to incorporating Torbjorn into your strats?
Well, so the thing with composition development in general, like regardless of whether or not it's Torbjorn or somebody else, Sombra, Tracer, whatever, you have to identify their function in the composition. You have to understand their tasks during any specific type of play, like during a push, during a graviton, and things like that, like what they're supposed to be doing. And just because it's Torbjorn and people have assigned him a bit of a meme status up until now, doesn't mean he gets any different attention. Like, he's just another component of the composition.
So thank you again, Careless, for joining us. And so I'm going to lead you out on this. Is there anything specific you want to mention about how the season has been, with your team here or an open division, or any certain particular shoutouts or things you want to tell us before this broadcast?
Just that we've gone undefeated up until this point. We're looking to keep that record through to the other side of the grand finals. 6ixGuns is a really strong team, and we're expecting a hell of a fight out of them. Just want to shout out Shape, our team manager, who's also our Revolution admin here. But yeah, she really helps to make a lot happen. I look forward to the match.
Thank you so much for joining us, Careless, really, and we look forward to the match too. At this point, we will begin to prepare for tonight's match, so you will hear me and Maddie back on the call shortly with Sunmilk producing. So thank you to Careless for joining us. Thank you to Shape on the production, directing and everything here at Revolution, and thank you to Sunmilk on the production. So we're going to cut to break, but we will be staying live for Hype in the chat, and we'll be back in a few minutes with tonight's matchup of 6ixGuns versus Torbulance in our GM finals.
I know she's classy cause she cares about that coochie. Career boy, working overtime. Career boy, one thing on my mind. A cheap office coffee, these pumping through my veins. I work for the man, yeah, but you know I love the change.
Welcome back to tonight's featured matchup between 6ixGuns and Torbulance. We are in the Grand Master Finals here. As we had talked about in our pregame show, we've got a great matchup between two teams that place well in open division. 6ixGuns going 6-4, and Torbulance going in 7-3 to this point in our Revolution season. Torbulance has been undefeated, and so with that, I welcome Maddie on color commentary into the booth. So what should we expect from tonight's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I could not be more excited to see these two teams go at it tonight. Obviously, I'm expecting more of that variety coming out from the side of 6ixGuns. We're going to see probably some more Pharah. We did see a lot of Pharah in their semifinal matchup against 6ixGuns. And looking over on the side of Torbulance, I expect, just like Careless was telling us before the match got going, to see some of that aggression coming out. So whether they decide to stick to their guns and sort of play what's, in the new with the meta, and just sort of make it all about the objective, I still expect to see aggression on both ends. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how that plays out.
So to bring everyone up to speed as well, so like we said, this is GM finals. These teams are not, they're not strangers to each other. They are competing for tonight's prize pool of $150. Our other division winners to highlight for any newcomers that might have missed the pregame show: Golden Roses won Division 3, TCG won Division 2, and Choco Bros three-peated Division 1. And so, in thinking in terms of 6ixGuns versatility and unorthodox compositions with the bans in place, to remind everyone, that would be Wrecking Ball, McCree, May, and Brig. What do you think we might see here opening up on Control?
Well, with the absence of May, the idea of space control might go away a little bit. However, what we've seen in a lot of our Overwatch League matches recently has been that Reaper Torb look, and that's probably something you may expect to see, at least on the side of Torbulance. Again, 6ixGuns loves to change it up and throw curveballs, so I would expect to see Pharah play on at least the maps that allow for it. Obviously, Control Center on Lijiang being the exception to that, having that inside point probably allows for space control to just be ultimately a bit more important. And even on Night Market, really, if you can get to the point, I know a lot of people use sim TPs to do that. It allows for just lockdown and control, but obviously missing that May, that's going to be something that might affect that potentially. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure.
And with that, we are going to be loading into our first map on Lijiang Tower. So we are starting on Control. This is a race to 3. So while we've been commonly calling it a best of 5, it should more accurately be called a race to 3. So if we see any ties or anything like that, we will go to a follow-up map. So we are starting on Control. We will move to Escort, Assault, Hybrid, and then a tiebreaker potentially on Oasis. And so with 10 seconds on the clock here, do you think we see both teams maybe go sim, or do you think we're going to see more of that unorthodox setup?
Yeah, well, this is actually the map where I think you can see a bit of a hybrid between that dive fast look, but also the lockdown space control type of comp that really tries to get on the points. You're actually going to be seeing Torbulance. They are on the Symmetra for now, so you're going to have Blob coming out on the Sim potentially to really line it up there. And as I talked about before, Death loves to play that Pharah for 6ixGuns. You're seeing that as well. So if we get a bit of a combination here, two play styles, really a battle of concepts coming out here on Night Market, I could not be more excited.
For sure, neither could I. And so with that, we're going to be counting into Grand Master Finals coming at you live here on Revolution Esports. And so we're going to see the Torb for Essel, and we're going to see the late Sim swap. So we're going to see Sim swap away over to Soldier, and we're going to see 6ixGuns coming out with a Pharah Ashe as both teams look to get on point. We're going to see first on to point here will be Torbulance. So they're going to be setting up on point and have that advantage, that early aggression. But Blob's going to be the first one to go down to open up this fight. 6ixGuns going to take advantage of that very quickly, find another pick. This is going to be a 6-on-4. Early Sigma and Orisa fortifying and sucking up onto point. Frennick is going to be the next one to go down along with Essel, and 6ixGuns is going to get first control here.
Yeah, Def did a really nice job of getting around to the backside, taking out that hit scan counter originally. So you're going to see Blob a bit slow on the ultimate percentage just because he got taken down so soon. And it allowed for the Pharah to set up for these cross angles that really allowed 6ixGuns to break the point open. Playing fast, playing speedy, despite having the tanks that can really draw the line in the sand with the Orisa Sigma comp, it allowed for them to really just set up a battle on 2 fronts and pinch in Torbulance to get that first cap.
For sure, and so we're going to see Yo-Yo coming in here with the D.Va Matrix, going to buy him a little time to work his way in. A suck from Sigma is going to back 6ixGuns on the point. They're going to fortify up. They're running a double shield. You're going to have a hard time breaking through that with the Soldier and Torb. We see a Fire Barrage already online here as Ryra is going to be close to a Bob as well. They're going to trade a couple picks. Baptiste and Fire are going to go down here. Bob's going to begin to wreak havoc onto the point. Going to take out Esther, going to take out Avery. And with the turret down, Bob will take care of the rest. Frennick will fall, and they will approach 50%.
Yeah, and a bit of an early Coalescence being popped there from Frennock. You're actually already going to be seeing about 34% on that, but they really wanted to break that point open quickly. But luckily for 6ixGuns, they were able to slow it down a bit and really draw it out so that their picks could come in thanks to this Ashe play coming out from Riri, as well as just the Pharah spam from above. You saw the Barrage get dropped in.
Sigma ult's gonna be the first one to come out. They've got 3 more in the bag. Meanwhile, Torbulance doesn't have any ults of their own yet, so ulti can be massively in favor of 6ixGuns to open here. And they're gonna find 3 extremely early picks, and they're gonna have 2 more in the bag after a great Baptiste window. They're already close to another Bob here, man.
Yeah, just a bit of an alley-oop play for sure, as you saw the Sigma ult launch them all into the air, and then the Baptiste window to help them really spray it down from the ground, and that allowed for a couple picks to come through, especially from Riri. So now Torbulance trying to break back into this one.
Their backs against the wall with 85 seconds left to go. We might see an offensive beat drop or something to that matter coming in. Coalescence also online, so they got 2 support ults. It looks like they're going to have several other ults coming online as well. Sigma Rock comes out, doesn't find anybody. Orisa gets pinned into the back wall. Baptiste is going to be the first one to go down for 6ixGuns, followed by Orisa. They've got a 6-on-4. Bob is going to be set up behind the shield. It's going to give them a difficult time here, but they're going to trudge on anyway. Mercy's going to drop along with Sigma, and they will retake as we find our way to 99%.
Yeah, and Torbulance doing a really good job of taking it quickly into the rest of the team, ignoring the fact that Death is on this Pharah, just kind of going past it. You did see Blob turn around and try and deal with it just a little bit, but for the most part, his attention was on the front line, which is where it should be, as you're basically fighting a 5v6 at that point.
We're going to see a very early D.Va Von come out. Avery's going to go down and trade with Legolas, so that's going to... So we're going to see a couple of supports going down as well. Death absolutely popping up with a barrage. Triple kill coming out. Scarm's going to find Death, but that will really begin to get a lot of picks in a recap here, and they might be able to just block this one out.
Yeah, that was an insane flank and just barrage coming in from Death. The Pharah finally paying off, allowing for 6ixGuns to take what was a dominant night market round. And if that's how they can play on the maps that really don't allow for as much space, because you would argue that Garden is probably the most open map of Lijiang. So if you can take this playstyle and take it into Garden, playing the Pharah as well as they have, Torbulance may be in a bit of trouble. But lucky for them, they get a bit of a round, maybe to be potentially a buffer, as we're going to be heading into Control Center where they have that frontline comp really pay off. So if Torbulance can continue to play quickly the way that they have been when they were winning fights, at least, it'll allow for them to really break this one open. But you will be seeing a bit of some swaps coming through here for 6ixGuns, maybe to adapt to that fact.
And we talked to Careless in the pregame show, and he told us they're going to look to be aggressive regardless of whether they necessarily not to say that they don't understand, but even if they're against a comp that they normally don't scrim against, they're going to play aggressive even more so than pushing the envelope, pushing the action at 6ixGuns and forcing them to prove, hey, we know how to run a different comp here, and that Torbulance knows how to play against anything. We'll see how that aggression plays out for them as we move on to this point. Point open in 15 seconds. Both teams set up. Brian's going to do a little dance. Death going to be the first one down, though. Essel will go find the first pick, but Yuio is going to go down. No shield. They're only going to have a Zarya to push forward as Don Tony's still at half health. He's still got the shield up as Riri finds Blob. No Doomfist out on the field anymore as that's going to work his way back from spawn. Scarm's going to be doing the Baptiste off the high ground. Everyone's going to pop back on the point, and 6ixGuns will find the first cap of the match.
Yeah, so I think from what you saw in that fight, it was a lot more just getting set up on the point to get things started, and both teams really looking for that same strategy. And you saw the Symmetric come out from Essel, actually still in the battle here a little bit, but Essel was able to charge up the beam, but 6ixGuns was able to hold on for now.
And 6ixGuns will continue to sort of run out this fight, and it ends up, bleeding into a second fight almost, and Turbulence, and now we'll have to regroup. They'll be coming back. Frenix swapping to the Ana, maybe looking for a little more aggression with an anti here. Coalescence not getting a ton of value to this point.
Yeah, and if you're 6ixGuns right now, it's all about using this grab before the beat drop comes online for Scar. 87%.
Shatter comes out, not able to necessarily find anybody, but they're going to push in with it regardless. Blob's going to be the first one to go down here for Torbulance. Esso next up, so no DPS. So it's a 6-on-4 for 6ixGuns. They have them right where they want them. So they're going to approach the 50% mark here. And big anti on Dantoni. He will charge in, and they will clean up the rest of that fight.
Yeah, 6ixGuns also able to hold onto the grab, and they will have a pulse bomb to combo with that. And even if that doesn't work out, they are close to a meteor strike as well. So definitely a lot of ultimates to keep this aggression, and it's all about just staying on the front foot here, really not giving Torbulance any space that they need to push into this point.
And so how does Torbulance, you think, open up here? 6ixGuns is going to go for a big grab here. They're going to find 4 in. If beats drop going to come out, keep them maintained. Opposing grab comes in. Dantoni's going to be the first one to go down as Yuio gets the nano. Death's going to join the grave next along with Frenix. So 6ixGuns is going to back up on the point, just try to play for spawns or carry this as long as they can. Maybe push it to 83% here. And so as we welcome in this next fight, and Yuio loses Shatter at the last second, how does Torbulance sort of run this point out?
Yeah, that was a bit ambitious for sure on that Shatter, but he kind of just had to go for it, trying to stay alive, as he knew that 6ixGuns would be pushing in very quickly once they got that pick, and I mean, you're seeing that unfold here a little bit as the fight gets going.
So we see 6ixGuns looking to grasp back control as they only need to win basically one more fight as Ymetra's wall comes up. Legolas can be the first one down though, so they'll be shorter support as they look to regain control. They continue to do it. Nobody has ults up quite yet. Dantoni's going to be close to his Shatter as Yuio's going to go down. They're going to trade a couple of huge post mine to find Frenix and Blob, and that's going to be massive as ALW is going to clean up the rest, and that's going to be a cap here for 6ixGuns.
Yeah, and again, looking at this beat drop versus grab, just build rate, you're going to see that Owl may actually get that Graviton before the beat drop comes out from farm, which means that 6ixGuns can take this final fight potentially here before that beat drop is online. So it's going to be all about building that really, but Essel may be able to come clutch here with a potential loss of 87 to that now.
And so we're going to see a Shatter come out initially from Dantoni, but he's going to be taken down by a charge from Yuio. That's going to be a massive pick here as Essel, though, goes down. So they have a 5-on-5. No shield up for 6ixGuns, but a massive grab as they find 3 other picks. Ruby's going to go down, 5 Blob. So Blob looking for a flame, but Death with a massive barrage going to find both tanks. And that might be the last of it here for Torbulance. And they will, first map goes to 6ixGuns.
Yeah, Death going to Pharah towards the end. They're actually able to build a barrage, and I'm not sure if you made a comment on that and I just missed it, but I totally didn't see that until now, and
no,
I saw
totally
the barrage come in. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, there's Death on the Pharah on Control Center. So you're just seeing 6ixGuns coming in with these niche just play styles. I mean, making Pharah work on arguably one of the hardest Pharah maps in the game, on this map especially, just interesting. And I mean, you're going to be seeing him, at least in the play of the game as well, popping off, just killing man after man, breaking open point time and time again. And it really felt like 6ixGuns always had an ultimate up to just keep the aggression against Torbulance here. So definitely a rough map for Torbulance to get going, and they're going to be looking to bounce back on map 2.
Right, so that's what I was thinking. So from watching it, and quick background, so Maddie was former top 500. I've peaked, mid-diamond. So just from my perspective, a lot of it was, so I kept thinking, Torbulance loses one fight, but then all of a sudden 6ixGuns is just churning out ult economy that, so Torbulance is looking for a way back. So how do you think they find that foothold as we're going into round 2? Is it just simply ults, or is there something else that you saw?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it was really what you're seeing from 6ixGuns really well, at least, was just they were able to build their ults off of their other ults, if that makes sense. So when you see these Baptiste windows coming out from your Mitra, you're seeing Riri unload damage through it, and that allowed for Bob to get built up. You're seeing Dantoni take Orisa shots through it, and that's just really allowing for ultimates across the board to get built up from one ultimate, and they are able to just kind of keep rotating their ults to do that. And so I think that's definitely something that Torbulance needs to look to just kind of disrupt a little bit. You can't give them that time to really set up these ultimates. You really want to keep it with the aggression, and they have been doing a pretty good job of taking it as aggressive as possible while also, trying to stick together and not get too caught off by the fact that you have Death in the air raining rockets. But still, even then, part of the strategy going up against Afara is to just ignore her, take the rest of the team, and so you need to see more aggression coming out here for Torbulance.
Definitely. And so, like you said, the definition of snowball is sort of to that point. And so it looks like we will be loading into Dorado here. And so personally, I'm curious to see what sort of comp 6ixGuns run. So again, it's sort of a broken record theme of the evening here is going to be that 6ixGuns does run very unorthodox comps. And meanwhile, Careless has his team ready, Torbulance really ready for anything, as they might be seemingly more traditional to what we might be used to watching. And so as we load into Dorado here, what do you think we might see?
Yeah, we've seen Riri play Widow on this map in the past, and I think just really that hit scan look, Ashe Widow, is something that Riri can really bring out and make look so strong. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Widowmaker come out here, or the Ashe. And obviously that changes the entire playstyle for 6ixGuns. At that point, you're looking to slow down the game and you're waiting for your picks to come through. You could also see Death on Pharah to couple with that. Obviously, that is their bread and butter, is really Death on that Pharah, and you will be seeing it for now. And actually a Reaper look for Riri, unless they decide to change that up on the defense here.
For sure. So that's going to be interesting too, like you said. So it'd be interesting to see if they're able to keep Death on Pharah, if we're going to see any counterplay coming in for that as well. Because in that last match, and I think it caught both of us by surprise, really, every time I looked up at the scoreboard, it looked like Death was ready for another barrage. And so if they see that sort of success again, Torbulance is going to have a big uphill battle here on Dorado.
Yeah, but you actually are seeing a bit of counterplay come through here as Blob will be starting off on this Widowmaker now. I'm not sure if that's just to try and get a pick, and then maybe he swaps over to the Torb, if that's like something that they're looking to do here, that Reaper Torb comp. But either way, when you see this Pharah, it might be smart to stick with that Widow.
So we're going to see Widow out the gate up top. Going to look for a pick here on Death. We're going to see a Pharmacy in the air here for 6ixGuns. Don Tony on the ground on the shield with Riri starting off as Reaper. Will be see if that changes as the match goes. Eslo's going to be the first one down here, though, losing the Reaper duel to Riri. Lamp is down here for Yamacha, and they're going to begin to move the cart around the corner of this early contest, though, keeping them basically in spawn before it can get around the corner. Yuio's shield is down, though, so they're going to take a soft reset.
Yeah, and speaking of that shield being down, you did see a bit of idolization there from Yuio as he just kind of held up the shield for a little bit towards the cart, and that's not what you want to see. You want to see the aggression coming out for Torbulance against this Pharah. You want to take it into the front line. Don Tony really wasn't backing up too fast, but he was able to kite it long enough for the picks to come through from Riri and Death. So it's all about going into these tanks here, as they're not going to have as much support when you have a DPS and a support in the sky.
And Yuio going to be probably first one to shatter here as Yamacha's got window up. So they'll have that sitting around the corner. Barrage at 94%. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. Super Blob's going to make the swap here to Doomfist, opting off the Widow. Dante's going to first one down. Shatter's going to come out. Yamacha's lamp is down. And so they're going to look to push. Window comes out. Death finds Blob. Barrage comes out. Both Divas going to fight in the air alongside it, and that's going to be a fight cleanup here.
I still think that was a better played fight on the side of Torbulance. They were able to take it to the main tank the way they want to. If they do that every fight, it's going to pay off in the long run. The reason why they didn't win that one was because the ultimate economy from their past lost fights, and you're seeing about 2 minutes worth of ultimates really just came out there, and it allowed for, you know, the fight flip to come through for 6ixGuns. But if Torbulance can play like that every time, they're going to be seeing a lot better results.
And so 6ixGuns alive here with 4 ults. There's Death, though, churning the thing up very quickly. Aspen's going to find Don Tony. Blob's going to go down. Diva Bomb finds Frenic. That's going to be 2 picks. Riri's going to find Yuio, and they're going to begin to push them back into spawn. Aspen's the next one, join them in the grave. But Don Tony is res. Turbulence going to be coming back here shortly, though, with Reaper ult coalescence. We're going to see a beat drop as well. And so maybe they are finally able to get out of spawn here with a couple ults just to play more aggressively.
Yeah, and I think on the side of Torbulance, you're just letting a bit too much value come from this Baptiste on the high ground. You need to stick their nose in there a little bit more and just make sure that he can't unload the healing, because we've been seeing such quick windows coming out from him, and also just that high ground presence allows for the immortality to come in.
Absolutely massive. Shadow's going to find 5, and that's going to be a team wipe and effectively an ace for 6ixGuns.
A single ultimate winning a team fight outright, and you're looking at a 3-minute spawn hold here for 6ixGuns. This has been dominant.
Absolutely, and so when we think of how Torbulance is going to flip this here, they've got 2 or 3 ults, and really they need to just find 1 or 2 picks, you would think, Maddie, just to get some momentum going, right?
Yeah, and I think the Diva Bomb here is going to be probably the most important part of this fight. If you can disrupt the Pharah Mercy's positioning with it, it allows you to be aggressive with the rest of the team, but...
Barrage comes out, going to get Avery out of mech. Initially, they're going to try going around the backside, see if that gives them any different results. Don Tony's going to be the first one to go down, and so is Riri, so they're finding a little success. They had tried one way, they tried another, and after that was going around the backside. So Diva is going to head back towards spawn now. And so we watch as Pharmacy continues to rain down Madness. Death at 54%, already doing next barrage. Riri up to 91% as Yuio finds 2 picks of his own, and the cart gets rolling.
Yeah, prime example there of Death. Even dropping in a barrage, it wasn't enough, because when Torbulance was able to take it aggressive into the other front line, it allows just for everything to open up once those tanks are out of the picture. The Pharah isn't that scary if you play quick, but...
Well, Reaper O comes out, not quite finding anything. Shadow's going to come out. Esso and Yuyo are going to go down Blob as well, so they ditch the cart, go to move up, and not quite the result they were looking for. Avery's only going to find Death there. Riri's going to find Skarm, and very quickly, 6ixGuns takes over the payload, and Turbulence very unlikely to recontest.
Yeah, and really, 6ixGuns able to play at the pace that they want to play at because of this Pharah, and there really hasn't been any counter picks to come through for that yet. I mean, there is a D.Va on the side of Turbulence, but Doom Reaper, that's really not going to do much against the Pharah.
Blob looks to smash in here, not going to find any picks though. We're going to see Esso looking to build up maybe a Reaper just at the end, 61% to it, but he's going to be the first one to go down. We're going to find a pick from Blob. Skarm's going to go down next. Death just continuing to reign in here, 20% till next ult, and on a triple kill, they will end the round at the fountain.
Yeah, and I hate to keep repeating what the solution to this comp is, but it really is just that simple. You need to play quicker, or you need to make counter swaps. Those are really the only two options. If you're going to try and play the slow game as well, you need to be seeing a Widowmaker or just another hit scan come out here to deal with that Pharah in the sky. Otherwise, you need to be taking it quick, and you saw Turbulence do a bit of that on that round, and that's why they were able to get the cart as far as they did, frankly, because it was looking to be stopped at that spawn door with like a 3-minute hold, I think we saw coming out from the side of 6ixGuns. So this Death Pharah, it just can't be ignored anymore. I think you're not seeing the fast play even paying off anymore, and you just kind of need to just see the counter swap come through. I think that's really the only option. You can't be sticking to the Doomfist Reaper against this Pharah.
And I mean, at this point, you have to expect, as we see Death initially here on Pharah, you have to expect that coming out on an attack, right? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and actually something I want to point out right now, and this is something you're about to see happen on the attacking side. 6ixGuns, they did this in their last game as well. They're actually going to peek out of the spawn, throw a halt to the high ground, and then hook it. So right off their spawn, they're going to try and get a pick early. Not sure if Turbulence knows that this is something that they did, but it's something they did in their last match on this map as well. Obviously, you see Avery going to that high ground, and that's the spot they're actually going to be looking to pull out here and then get the hook in. So definitely keep your eyes on that as this round gets going.
And so we're going to see initially, like you said, we're going to see a Rissa Hog, we're going to see a Mercy Baptiste. Riri's going to opt for the Widow alongside Death's deadly Pharah to this point. Essel going to remain on the Reaper here. Avery and Yuio going to continue that Ryan D.Va. Skarm continuing on Lucio. Blob going to play on Soldier. Freddy on. They're going to get the initial pull on D.Va to get her out. Actually, going to DM out early. Lamp burn though. We're going to see a Hog on a trade. Initially, Mercy going to come out with the res, and so that's already a 6-on-5 advantage for 6ixGuns, and they're going to put Turbulence on their heels to back out of the choke.
So I've never actually seen 6ixGuns stick with the Orisa Hog look once that original pull hook came out, so definitely an interesting look for them, but again, keeping us on our toes, that's all their playstyle here. But Riri, on this Widowmaker, gotta keep your eyes on it. Blob is probably the only one with the range to deal with that, unless Avery wants to close out on it on this D.Va, but obviously that leaves your front line very vulnerable to a halt hook combo, so probably the best option here is to swap into something that's going to deal with a Widow Pharah, because I don't think Soldier is going to be good enough at outranging at least the Widow. I mean, maybe you can deal with the Pharah involved, but really, that's it.
Yuyu is going to be the first one to go down here along with Essel, and so we're going to see Blob approaching Visor first. Death might have ult next, as Death finds Blob and going to sort of win it. That DPS dual Frank's going to go down as well, and they're just going to kind of manhandle point here and keep it where it is.
Yeah, and Reaper just is not the pick here. I think playing into Orisa Hog, it's just too hard. Actually, you saw the D.Va swap come through, but even still, I just don't think it works well enough. It's harder to get behind a hero like Orisa just because you have the Baptiste there with the Immortality field. Reaper just isn't the pick here, I don't think.
Yuyo's going to try to get back on the point. It's going to be burned early. Essel going to be headshot out. Riri's going to go join him in the grave. Yuyo's going to go down. Death with another barrage. Going to find two. Blob comes out with that visor we mentioned earlier, but it's the first one to get, but he's going to end up dying to himself as a bomb comes out. Is that going to be able to keep point alive? It's not. In round two, it's going to go to 6ixGuns.
Yeah, and it really just came down to 6ixGuns making just about everything work here, and this has been a quick match so far. I mean, we're like, what, 26 minutes into this, and they're already 2 maps up, and it's just because they're able to swap to these different, like, comps and these different heroes and just make it work so well, but they're also able to keep a relatively similar playstyle in their DPS, which is, you know, the Pharah, the cross angles coming through. You saw Riri on the Widow for a bit, the Reaper, really just putting damage from different spots. That's been their main bread and butter this game, and their tanks really with these, like, adaptability and just the swaps that we're seeing from them, it allows for them to just kind of go from one comp to the next, keeping Turbulence's front line on their toes. But really, I don't even think the tanks are the focus. They're more of a decoy for what we've seen from Death's Pharah and Riri's just general DPS play.
And so when we think in terms of how Turbulence stages a comeback, I mean, if we're in the war room right now, Turbulence down 2-0, they need a reverse sweep here. Absolutely not impossible. I mean, so again, to reiterate a point we made coming into here, so 6ixGuns went 6-4 in open division, Turbulence went 7-3. So if we're talking in terms of overall skill level, I mean, these teams are, virtually even. Turbulence, again, one more win in open division, but both teams fairly evenly matched. This thing is far from over.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. There's still a world in which I see Turbulence coming back into this, and I think what you have to see in order for that to happen is either a change in playstyle with what they're running, or just a change in comp altogether. Now, if I had to make a suggestion here for them, it would probably be if they want to play that meta, because that's obviously probably what they've been scrimming, and so you want to stay on what you're practiced on, and I understand that, but you do have to change the way you're playing it right now, which is hard to do in the middle of a match, especially one as important as this. But you can't just let Death's Pharah just get infinite value, and Pharah is a hero that relies on the time that's allowed by their tanks to really pump in that damage, build that barrage, and win a fight off of that just explosive ultimate, no pun intended. So Turbulence definitely needs to just deny that as much as possible by either putting focus on the rest of the team, which a couple times when we've seen them do that, it has paid off, and it's just a matter of like some little micro things that 6ixGuns have been doing to like stop that aggression from paying off, such as the Baptiste on the high ground with the immortality field. So like in a perfect world, they're closing out on the Reinhardt or Orisa that 6ixGuns is throwing at them, and then in the meantime, Avery on the D.Va is getting up to the high ground, and I'm sorry, not Avery, Frenok on the D.Va is getting up to the high ground and denying the Baptiste the healing needed to, or the immortality field even, to help defend against that main tank, because that front line's going to crumble if you're able to do that.
And so with that, as we load into map number 3, Temple of Anubis, to remind you, so first 2 maps went to 6ixGuns, Control and Escort. We're going to be on Assault now. Next up will be Hybrid if we get to that point, and then Oasis. So again, thank you for tuning in for tonight's matchup. We have a ton of viewers here tonight. So again, thank you to chat. Thank you for being here, being part of the season, as this is our last match of the season. If you can find us on Twitter as we prepare for future events, that will be @_RevolutionOW. You can also find us in Discord, !Discord in the chat, which I just put in there. We also have a discount code for Rogue Energy, so you can find that with !Rogue. That code is TORB10, TORB10. And if you're so inclined, you can contribute to our prize pools and to our awesome community. Again, we are all volunteers here, so none of the money comes to us, but it goes out to everyone competing tonight. So tonight's GM winner will receive $150 to their team. So as we load in here for match number 3, we're going to see Death on the Pharah again. Surprise, surprise, come up with an Ashe. And we're going to see Torbulance opting for a Genji Sombra, maybe looking to put a little more pressure on that Death. They are not messing around here,
And
Maddie.
I was antsy to talk about this comp for sure, as this is a different look from Turbulence. Now, obviously, Anubis is a map that allows for these different looks to come out, but this is the adaptability, the change I want to see. Throw something different at a team that normally throws something different at you. This is a very good opportunity here to get in deep with Riri and Nimitra and put better team play to the test. They have a Sombra here, communication, it's going to be what this comes down to.
So Avery's going to be the first one on that left-hand side there, and we're going to see them try to back out as Blobby and Yuigo are going to fall. Riri cleaning that action up here. Already at 20% on the ult. We're going to see 40% already the bomb, and so they're going to look for a reset.
Yeah, and Blob was looking for the hack on the far end, the back line there. Unfortunately, got scouted out and taken down before they could really do much, and the tanks weren't in time to really help out. So Blob put in a tough spot, losing early. That's obviously not going to help you in the long run, and we will be seeing a hack come through onto the Orisa, but so far no dive. So a bit of split play coming out here from the side of Turbulence.
So we're going to see some go into right room Zone in the small room with Hell Pack. So we're going to see Avery immediately demacked, and they're going to be left with a 5-on-6 initially here. And it seems like so far, like you said, there's a lot of split pushing here. We're going to see both verses go down. Riri's going to go down as well. Essel and Death going to be going down. So a back and forth trading continues. And so with Spawn and Van here, maybe we see Turbulence able to break something out of this. EMP is live along with a Nano very shortly coming soon. Barrage and Nano are up for 6-1, so we see a swap of their own. Riri going Sombra as this fight continues, sort of a mess here as we keep track. So Avery's setting up on the high ground, and they're going to look to push in.
dives like that are what's going to win this game. They just have to be together when they do it, and that was why they lost that fight. They saw the anti go out into Riri, they went right onto that. That's the way they need to play to win this one.
Death Barrage comes out with a Nano, going to take down Esso, still Nano and looking for damage. Avery's going to DM it as long as they can, but they're going to go down. EMP comes out though from Blob, going to find most of the team. Storm's going to bring Esso back from the grave. We're going to see Winston is mad and he's ready to go. Nano comes out here on Genji. Blade isn't active yet though. He's going to find it and now he does, but he's answered along with Winston, so that's going to pose a problem. He's going to dive into the back line, look to find a kill onto Ana. He does. Orisa looking like they're going to be next here as point remains contested. Blob's going to find Death. Astro's going to find Tony, and success coming through for Torbulance.
Yeah, a bit of a different strategy there for Torbulance. Normally you see the EMP Nanoblade come out all together, but they decided to use those one by one. Obviously, their blade availability being the main factor in that one. They wanted to hold the Nano for it, but eventually Essel was getting way too low to just not pop it, so they were able to use it to build the blade and then get the blade off of that. But really, this is an interesting swap actually coming through here on the side of 6ixGuns. You're seeing Riri go over the Sombra now, and that's going to be a battle for the Mega under point, and it seems Riri's got the hack on it right now.
So as they begin to move on to point here, we're going to see D.Va close to a bomb, Riri close to another EMP. Bombs are up for both teams. Scarf is going to rip Valkyrie early. Frenny from the first one to go down though to death. And so they're going to be walking into a 5-on-6 unless they can find the res, and they do. EMP comes out for Riri, going to really put a damper on that attack. Also finds the kill though on the Yamatra. Both supports down here for 6ixGuns as the EMP of their own comes out from Blob. Barely alive. They're going to stay alive with Essel, and it looks like they might be able to put together at least one tick as 6ixGuns will recontest.
Yeah, and that was definitely a very clean engage there with the dive. And I mean, when 6ixGuns has to swap the play to Torbulance's pace, that's when Torbulance looks like the better team here. They just need to control the pace. They need to control how fast or slow this game is going, and that was something that Carlos talked about with us before the match, and you're seeing it really come to fruition here.
So at 62.5%, they're going to look to get that second tick all the way through. Blob's going to get res. Scrum's going to be taken down for it, going for it in the res. Death is going to join the grave here, and so it looks like they might have a chance to find that second tick here if they're able to keep D.Va off of point. So they're going to look to dive onto that. Riri's going to find Frennic though, make life a lot harder here as many of the heals are just being dropped here, and 6ixGuns begins to stabilize.
Yeah, and if the aggression on the Rhine comp wasn't working for Torbulance, the swap over to the Monkey comp has looked a lot better. They've been able to cleanly go in onto dives thanks to the anti-nades that Frenok has been unloading for them, and it has allowed for them to build up these combos that really we haven't seen a full combo come through yet, but that's the beautiful part of this, is they're not even using their combo and they already have a tick on second point. Once you see those combos come up, you see the Nanoblade with either coupled with an EMP or you see an EMP bomb as a separate combo on the side, they're just going to be the dominant team, and you saw 6ixGuns for a little swapping to be that mirror matchup.
Blade's going to find Skarm here, so this next fight's going to start and end basically before we're able to see it. So 6ixGuns going to find 3, find 4, and that'll be an easy wrap-up as they're looking at this next fight, walking in with 3 ults.
Yeah, and 6ixGuns again taking the pace back, playing the heroes that they want to play and keeping things just mixed up, and that's really their main bread and butter for this match, is just how they've been playing as a team. It's been do what you want, but do it together, and obviously when you see them go back to that, you know, playing the Sigma Monkey, not a traditionally seen thing, it's been working.
Death quickly finds Frennic. S are going to be dropped as well from the postman. Postman also gets D.Va out of Mac. Avery's going to drop, and that's again 3 very early, very quick picks here for 6ixGuns, and they're just commanding the action at this point.
Yeah, but you saw 2 ultimates come out there on the side of 6ixGuns. Meanwhile, Torbulance, they took that fight completely dry, and now you're looking at 4, 5 ultimates up. The only ultimate you're missing is the Primal Rage from Yuyo, and honestly, this is the fight to win here. You have a minute 20 on the clock. You're really only working against the beat drop. You can EMP that one out, and you're going to have your combo to follow up on that.
So you'll get maybe an EMP Nanoblade. Here's EMP's going to be the first one to come out here. They're going to look to push in Genji, 95 to ult. We've got Valkyrie on and up. Nano comes out on Esso. He's going to find Blade. He's going to look for it all. As Riri's the first one to drop. Death's going to go down as well. So that's no DPS left for 6ixGuns. Tony's going to go down as well. Yamada's going to go down. At least only 2 left for 6ixGuns. They're going to move on to point, try to get that second tick at minimum. As they're again they're very close. They passed the 62.5 mark, 72% with 45 seconds on the clock. Esso absolutely popping off after the Nano Blade. Tony's going to drop. 6ixGuns just fighting clean for anything onto the point. Death and Yamato are going to fight to get back. Will they be able to? And they're stuck at 98.4, just narrowly about to cross the finish line. Death is going to get red. Lego's going to go down though. Sigma ult comes out, and they're beginning to stabilize with Skarm going down.
Yeah, Torbulance put 6ixGuns in a bit of a lose-lose situation there on the engagement. They dropped in the EMP, which means that if you're Legola, you have to drop the beat. Otherwise, your team is all hacked up. They're going to get taken down by a very fast dive comp. However, when you saw the EMP come out, that meant that the Nano Blade was in the back pocket, ready to go for Torbulance, and that's, again, just ultimate economy, ultimate advantage, winning out that fight. I told you that was the fight for them to win, and they did indeed win it. You also have to credit their target focus once they actually got onto the point, able to go onto those targets one by one, really make sure that they stay cohesive, stay together as a team. Just because you won a fight outside a point off the Nano Blade does not mean that there's not going to be a fight coming through from the staggers of 6ixGuns, and Torbulance did a really good job of keeping their play clean, and that allowed them to cap with at least some time in the bank.
Exactly. That's really the thing we have to highlight too, is that they have time in the bank. They did not let it get down to overtime or anything, and so that's going to be huge in their back pocket and really for their confidence. I mean, to this point, to put it plainly, Torbulance hasn't exactly had this go their way. Down 0-2, backs against the wall. They had some split pushes, didn't quite go their way to open the map, and then all of a sudden they got the momentum going. Then they get pushed back in the spawn again, and then, like you said, they're able to. We hit that 2.5 minute mark, and you so astutely saw that, hey, they haven't even comboed yet. And so we see the EMP Nano Blade come out, and all of a sudden, they find success.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, in my opinion, this is the round that determines the series. I think whoever, if 6ixGuns is able to break through here, they're probably going to end up taking this series in a 3-0. And I say that because they're playing back to the heroes that they love, the Pharah, the Widow. If Torbulance, with this new look, this new dive attempt here, is able to shut that down and start playing to their pace, I think they could potentially build the momentum to come back and win this series. Bit of a bold prediction, but I could see it happening.
Bold indeed, and so we're going to watch it unfold here as Death on the Pharah again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so Esso and Blob going to be beginning on Sombra and Doomfist. Yuio's going to dive right in. Massive anti here for 6ixGuns, but they're not going to find immediately any value, though. They're going to find Skarm on the back end of it, so they trade supports here. Esso's going to almost go down, but just get healed up just in time. We're going to see the backup on the point as Frennic's going to be knocked down here for Torbulance, so that's going to might spell trouble here as 6ixGuns is bringing back their full 6.
Yeah, and on this comp, dealing with the Pharah, you can't just ignore it like you would on a frontline focused comp, because if you go into the Rhine's going to chew you up, especially inside. So you need to actually deal with Death a little bit more here. You have the Sombra hack, you have the D.Va closing out to do just that. And even Moira, you can throw a Coalescence there on the Mercy, and it does actually a surprisingly better job than you would actually expect. But obviously no Coalescence there in that fight because we're getting things started. But I just mean generally, this comp does have options to deal with the Pharah Mercy, and you can't just ignore it if you're going to play this comp. That's the one difference.
And so we see 6ixGuns here able to cap first point with 5:50 to go here, and so Torbulance again with their backs against the wall, but with an opportunity with time still in the bank to bring this into extra rounds. And so we see D'Antoni beginning to move up on point here. We're gonna see an EMP come out. Massive EMP by Legola, and you mentioned D'Antoni's gonna go down as well. Turbulence really bouncing back here, trying to fight for their lives here and fight for their place in the GM finals. And so we're gonna see Death go down as well. And basically we're gonna see everyone go down to nothing. They took care of each other there.
Yeah, no, after losing first point the way that they did, for them to be able to come so aggressive and quick, knowing full well that they could lose second point and really all the momentum of this map, that is what you like to see. Yuio went right in there with the monkey, wasn't afraid to drop the bubble. They're sticking to the comp and they're playing it how it's supposed to be played. They're not letting nerves or anything like that get to them, at least on that team fight. Beautiful job, beautiful stuff. They need to see more of that.
We see Essel, as we're talking there in the background, all the way in spawn fighting with 6ixGuns. So the shatter comes out from D'Antoni, gonna find Essel, and that's it. Essel had, teleported back into spawn basically. They're gonna do that again as Avery's gonna find the first pick. Both on and down as well, so that's easy to keep track of. Blob's got Doomfist ult gonna land. Riri's gonna find 2 as D'Antoni goes down as well. So we've got 4 and 4 on point as they claim first tick.
Yeah, and I think that this comp coming from 6ixGuns is just a bit too slow compared to the way that Torbulance is playing. I mean, you're seeing just such quick engagements onto the Ana, and there's really nothing that they can do on the side of 6ixGuns, and you're actually going to see the Moira swap coming out now because, again, he was just getting torn up. I mean, Yuio, Avery, and even the Doomfist Blob going all onto the same target, and really there's just no shot of living. So your dive target has to change now, obviously, because you're missing the Ana from this comp. So it'll be interesting to see who they decide to swap it over to and how well they're able to execute that dive.
Moving in here to this next fight, we're going to see EMP up for Essel. Frennic's got Nano, and Avery's got Bomb. Riri's got Bomb. And we're going to see EMP immediately coming out from Torbulance, taking the action to 6ixGuns. Absolutely paying off. Beautiful 2 pick, 3, 4. Skarm's going to go down for Torbulance, but it doesn't Oh, back cap coming in though from 6ixGuns as I go to say they're cleaning up the fight. They're gonna hack Legola and they're gonna stagger her, and that's a massive time save here for Torbulance.
Yeah, but this next fight is critical because if you look up at the ultimate board, you're going to see 4 of the biggest ults potentially in the game, really, coming out here from 6ixGuns. The Grab Barrage, the Pulse Bomb, the Shatter. These are all ultimates that could win a fight by themselves, but 4 of them is going to make for a deadly combo here. So it'll be really all about how quickly Torbulance takes this fight and decides to just ignore the fact that, you know, 6ixGuns has all these ultimates, because if they can get a pick before things really get going here, not give time for 6ixGuns to really set up these ultimates, that's what's going to win the fight.
So Dantoni's gonna fat finger?
Yeah, either
Did I
that or
miss
he was
that?
trying to stop the Sombra. He might have been trying to just stop the Sombra before the fight. I'm not really sure. I didn't see that one.
So apologies for that. Maybe on the stream side you were able to see it. Yuyo's gonna get the nano here. They're gonna have 1 ult less. All of a sudden Torbulance is even if not more ults. That's gonna find a rain from above. Dantoni's gonna go down. Scarf's gonna go down. We hear a flurry of ults coming out on the point here. Death finds another. Doomfist is gonna ult up top, look to join the action on point. Gonna immediately go after the Mercy. Winston and Yuyo just really gonna look to push up here as Astro's gonna go down. Riri just sort of having their way, but Avery's gonna take them down, and the action that is gonna be in favor of Torbulance right now on point as Riri comes back from the grave.
Yeah, but it didn't matter there how well Death did, at least to start that fight, because the aggression under the backline was what has been paying off all game here for Torbulance in this defense. They went right into him. They ignored the fact that there was a Pharah, and this is what we wanted to see from them on the grind comp. We're seeing it on the dive, and I love it.
A lot to love here as Zesto's going to be taken down as well. 6ixGuns really putting together quite the offense here, but Torbulance going to find 2 picks of their own. Avery's going to go down, joining Legola and Don Tony. And so we're going to see this back and forth action continue though, but 6ixGuns beginning to find a foothold here onto point. While Torbulance has a massive spawn advantage, it might not matter if they just can't spawn, period. Another barrage from Death. I feel like I've said it 1,000 times, but it really just keeps coming here. Grab's going to come up. Amidst a EMP, Estel and Avery are going to go down as well. 6ixGuns fighting with everything they've got. 1:38 left on the clock here. As you know, really Torbulance just keep diving on the point as much as they can, and Torbulance will hold them here to 1:30, racked up to 2:11.
So I did say that this round was going to be critical in who took the series overall, and I might actually be wrong on that, because what we did see from Torbulance shows that they're learning from what they're seeing in game. You saw just such quick play, and on these quick heroes, it allows you to get back to the point so much quicker, I should say, that it doesn't really matter how many picks how many guys you're losing, because if you're getting 1 or 2 picks, in terms of the long-term fight, you're not going to have the sustain on 6ixGuns side to really win that one outright, because even if you go down a couple more members on the defense, your spawn's right there, especially on that second point. So Torbulance able to stay aggressive despite losing a bit more members in like the long game really doesn't matter because of the position they were in on defense. Obviously, in terms of first point, that does matter. On their attack, it's going to matter as well, but playing really to the idea that aggression isn't going to hurt you and sticking to that fact, ignoring the Pharah a bit, that's really what's been paying off for them.
As we load into this next map here, we're going to take a quick second to say again, so this is a race 2-3. 6ixGuns won the first 2, so they are up 2-0 against Torbulance. Time on the clock is 2:11 here for 6ixGuns. A minute for Torbulance. They were able to just eke out into avoiding overtime and able to get some time in the bank, and that's going to be absolutely massive here. And just really quick, MVP voting, if you scroll down on your Twitch and check the panelists, if you're watching on mobile, depending on what OS you're on, please find your panelists and vote for your MVP. I would recommend waiting till maybe the end of this match just to see how things turn, but please consider MVPs and we'll bring them in for an interview after the match. And so as we load in here, so we're going to see Death again on the far, Riri on Tracer. We're going to see a Tracer Sombra comp here for Torbulance on attack, and so they're going to go for really a hybrid, a super aggressive dive here. So we're going to see Blob already at 20% on EMP. First one down though.
Yeah, I just think Torbulance was a bit too slow at the choke there, and Blob was doing a lot of poke in the back, and had the Pharah Mercy distracted, that would have been the time to go into the Orisa. However, you saw just idle, a bit of just idle play coming out from them, so you need to see that engagement come out a bit quicker from them next time.
Unfortunately, that next time is only going to be one time extra cost, so they only have 1 minute left, and that equals basically 2 fights for his team, especially in Torbance's caliber. So they're going to look to speed onto the point, and they're going to jump onto the high ground initially. Avery going to go after the Orisa. Yuyo's going to back up off point. Blob's going to go down as well. That you hate to see it. Just not, like you said, maybe not playing it quite quick enough as a unit. They sort of split early on, so we're sort of seeing the fallout from that on point here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think overall you're just seeing 6ixGuns coming out stronger here on this defense, obviously, because you're going to see the full hold coming through. But I just mean in general with the way they were playing it, we saw a bit of just hesitation from the dive, a bit of just, backing off. And what I always said during my time as a player was, even if you're doing the wrong thing, it's more important to do the wrong thing as a team than it is to do the right thing alone. And I think that's what we were seeing was you saw Blob in the back just kind of doing the right thing. He was distracting the Far Mercy, doing a good amount of poke. However, his team wasn't there to follow up on the main engage, and that's really what you need to see. The Sombra, in a lot of cases, especially in mid-fight, is more of just a decoy, while the rest of the team is the one pumping out the real damage, obviously, but you didn't really see too much of that dive come through. And then on that second point, you saw just a bit of hesitation as to where to go with your dive, and you saw Yuyo get caught out early as he was a bit higher up, a bit farther forward than the rest of the team, and just didn't have the proper support to really stay alive there. And it didn't really seem like they were sure with who they were going. I feel like in the past with Torbulance's dive on this map, you've been able to see, exactly who their target was. That Ana a lot. They were really picking on Yumitra for a while, and I think that's something that you really missed in that attacking round from their side. So how they change it up on defense, you're seeing the soldier come out here. So they want to stop really any sort of aggression from 6ixGuns before they can get to the point. I think if 6ixGuns is able to close the gap, especially with this Pharah, you're going to be looking at the end of a round potentially. However, I'm not even sure if Death is going to be sticking with the Pharah, as Legola is not on Mercy. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, probably a Pharah comp for them.
We see Esso already in the spawning on the scope things out here for Torbulance as they set up again. So they backs against the wall. They need to full hold this to bring this to a draw and force a map 4. Otherwise, 6ixGuns is going to win this 3-0 and take the GM Finals crown. Thank you for tuning in again to this broadcast, and we're excited to see how this particular map wraps up. SO already 20% here to EMP. Begin to dance, trying to decide how they want to attack this death, just raining it down again, seeing if they can find an initial pick, as they have so many times before. Now beginning to approach in the underground room. What a dive, Avery's going to jump in, but both tanks going to be anti. Arista's going to look for that pull here, and they're going to continue to just dance around and look for a pick.
Yeah, but I don't like seeing Yuyo jump away from that dive, going to a completely different spot than the rest of his team. You need to stay together. When the Monkey D.Va have been playing together this game, Torbulance has looked like a whole different team, a lot better. But you saw Avery go retreat to the back line, which is probably what Yuyo should have done as well. But he jumped to the right, and it really caught him out by himself. But it allows for 6ixGuns to have the space needed to really break into this one. And you're seeing now Death above, pretty much uncontested, actually, though, as I say that.
Avery's going to find the kill. Nano comes out onto the ice wall. Death's going to be brought back with the red. Storm's going to be very low, though. Avery's going to be about half here. Reeve's going to find Storm. It's a 6ixGuns moves the action onto point. Going to find Yuri. Avery's going to be taken out of mech. Don Tony joins him. And so Visor comes up. EMP's almost live. Legland's going to be taken down by Visor. Will they need EMP? Oh. It looks like probably not. Blob with the Visor bringing it back in Torbulance. Looks like they might be able to eke out a hold here. EMP's going to keep Riri at the center of point. Yamatra and Death are going to jump in late, and spawn advantage is going to help win it for 6ixGuns as they...
Oh, Yuyo's in?
Yuyo's going to hit point. He's mad. He hops off point, though. Is it going to be for too long? No, Death's going to come in with the barrage. And so it's just going to be a battle here to see if they can find any sort of pick on the Torbulence side. They're unable to, and 6ixGuns finishes the sweep.
Our GM champion 6ixGuns, and they definitely look like they deserved it. Their play has been very smooth, and obviously when there just wasn't enough to disrupt them, they were able to do what they wanted to do, and they really came out on top here in dominant fashion. Obviously a nice 3-0 sweep. I think this is the best map easily of the series, though. Turbulence really was able to adapt to what we were seeing, so props to them for sure. Despite the 3-0 scoreline, they made it close on Anubis, and obviously Lijiang could have gone other way, and that was really a big momentum point as well. But really, what I want to highlight for sure has just been the ability to play what they want and play it well, and you saw that coming out really on all fronts from 6ixGuns. You know, they had the Pharah comps, and that was their bread and butter. That was what was working for them.
And so before we go into a little more analysis of the gameplay here, again, just to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the participants that we can see in chat are watching. So thank you to our viewers, our cast and crew. This is Paul on play-by-play and Maddie on color. Sunmilk on producing. Shape, our production director, put so much time and effort not only into the pregame show but into this season. So thank you to all of those involved. Congratulations to our winners 6ixGuns and our second place finishers Torbulance. At this time, we'll remind you that check the panels and vote for your MVPs, and we'll continue to wait from word from our producer, who we will likely be able to bring in our MVP for a final interview. If you're just tuning in and you have no idea what you're watching, You are watching Revolution Overwatch's Grandmaster Finals. You can find us Discord. I will add that again to the chat, and we're gonna see, woohoo, Shape giving out some subs. So thank you, Shape, again. As always, the amount of support and dedication she and so many of us put into this is something we're so proud of, and so we're very happy with that. So I'm gonna kick this back to Maddie and say, 6ixGuns really just was able to. Actually, let's excuse as I hear beeping in my ear, and we're gonna see who's joining the action here. So we'll kick it back to Maddie for a second to ask.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What 6ixGuns really sort of was able to take the aggression on, and even not totally unorthodox, but really just the Pharah play, and they were just able to dictate the pace overall, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I think what we saw mainly that was really winning these fights out a lot for 6ixGuns was just their ability to, even for a couple fights, play or change things up so much with where they were positioning on the map and also what they were doing in those spots. And once they were able to take a couple fights just kind of playing that like variety style, it allowed for them to build up the ultimate economy needed and use that properly to really steamroll into the rest of the map wins. And I just don't think there was enough disruption on the side of Torbulance to really shut that down, especially on the Dorado defense. You didn't see too much aggression. And really, when I talk about aggression, I mean like out the gates, run them down, because the minute you give them even one team fight, that can turn into a potential full hold with how Overwatch ultimates and just snowballing in general works. And that was something you saw a lot of. Really, the only fights we saw Torbulance look dominant on were the fights that they played aggressive, or the fights that they had just such an ultimate advantage that it really didn't matter what they did because they had 5 of the strongest ultimates in the game that could just win it out. I mean, fights I'm talking about in particular were like some of the EMP Nanoblade fights, fights where, on Dorado, they had a fight in particular as well where they had, I believe they were running a Mercy at one point, or either Ana or Mercy, but they had a support ult on that side that was really able to enable the rest of it to kind of unfold. They were able to nano up their Rhine and go in hard onto the enemy Rhine, and that's what we need to see is just aggression onto the front line. These DPS for 6ixGuns we talked about before the game, they were a focal point. They were the guys to keep your eyes on, really. And I think in order to deny that, you have to not give their tanks the amount of time needed to really keep the objective locked down while their DPS do the work. And that was something that really affected the entire match altogether.
And so too, in terms of Turbulence as well. So you mentioned the fights that they won. I mean, if you're on Turbulence, obviously the first 2 maps don't go your way, and the third one at least they're able to walk away with their heads held high, because I mean when they had their backs against the wall, they were able to put together some really coordinated play to get those 2 points on there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think something that I definitely want to highlight, as I said too, I was like, winner of this round probably going to take the series, because I thought Turbulence, and it was looking like they were starting to change up their play style in order to really lock things down. And we saw the dive come out for a little bit, and once they started changing how they played a lot, that was really what ultimately was starting to throw off 6ixGuns a little bit. But either way, Paul, if you want to take it back from me, as we have some new beeps in the booth.
Yeah, so our MVP of this match is Riri. So first off, congratulations on the MVP and congratulations on the win, Riri.
Thank you.
Oh, I have just so many questions for Riri. So many.
All right, let me kick it to Maddie. I would say
okay. So I will start it off first of all by saying, beautiful match. Congratulations. I'm sure you want to be celebrating with your team right now, but unfortunately we have to steal a couple moments of your time.
That's all right.
For the sake of content. But either way, Riri, you, in a lot of these comps, especially on the side of 6ixGuns, we saw Death was really someone that was in the sky. He was the decoy. And a lot of the time you saw some of the attention of Turbulence going up there. But you, on the other DPS side of things, was doing a lot of like the sneaking around. You saw the Tracer coming out from you, the Reaper, the Widow. So you were just putting in bursts of damage out of nowhere and really locking it down. So from that perspective of kind of, I don't want to say being the decoy necessarily, but kind of being like that extra added pressure to the fact that, like, Death is like kind of what everyone's looking at on that Pharah up above. You're kind of coming in from the back. How does that work from a comm standpoint? Do you guys have a specific target, or is it just I'm going to see who I damage and then call that out?
Well, the whole point of playing Tracer Pharaoh was to basically not let them engage, because we kept putting in damage after damage, and they were always around like 10 HP, 50 HP, and they couldn't engage at all at us. So they basically never got a team fight because of our distracting and our just making space for our team.
Yeah, and again, me and Paul were saying it so much in the booth that a lot of what this game came down to, in our opinion, was just the pacing of it. You guys not allowing them to close the distance needed to really lock down in your front line, which obviously going fast into the rest of the team is probably one of the biggest counters to those Pharah Mercy comps. So definitely a good job for you guys denying the damage. And I think a large part of that falls onto your shoulder specifically, obviously. And that's probably why we're seeing you here in the booth as our MVP. So definitely good job there. Paul, if you have a question, go for it.
Yeah, I do. So Riri, so you mentioned so we were mentioning just how you didn't let them get a team fight. And so when you're going to every fight, not only with the ability to dictate the action, but also we mentioned on the stream too, just dictating the overall ult economy, building ult onto ult onto ult. Is that just are you guys able to plan around just purely knowing you have so many more ults than them, or are you just or are you just planning around the fact that you can be that much more aggressive?
We're honestly not thinking too much about their ults because as long as we use our ults better than them, we will always win the fight.
Oh, that's really interesting. And so when you're thinking of that too, so are you just looking to, utilize your combos and saying your combos just have to be better than their combos?
Yeah, like the important thing is to always act first in the comp and never react to them. As soon as you're reacting to another person's comp, you probably lose the fight.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And again, it's just setting the pace and really, playing to the speed that you wanted to play at. And that was what we kept talking about, really determined this series. But one thing I actually had another question here. This was something that we saw from you guys on your Dorado attack, which it was easily your most dominant map, period. But we saw you guys come out originally on the Orisa Hog, and that was something I saw as well from you guys against your match with Sostick in the semifinal, which you try and pull down that diva. That's normally the diva's positioning up top. You pull it down, you get the hook in, and it's basically a free pick for that fight. Now, it didn't pay off there, actually, as Avery was able to live on that diva. But I have to ask, because afterwards we saw you guys actually stick with that, which was different than what we've seen previously. You decided to roll with the Orisa Hog. Is that based off of what you saw from their comp, or was it just generally, we didn't get the halt hook this time, but let's just try and set up a couple more, and then in the end, Hog just ended up being the pick for a while until you were able to get over to the diva? Like, what goes into that?
I actually have no idea. We only do that to get someone out of spawn because we actually stole that idea from No Weaver, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we stuck with it.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember because I casted that game you guys had against No Weaver too, and that was something that they did as well. So yeah, no, it's definitely just a really good way to catch your opponent off guard. And we did see the halt hook land, which it was unfortunate that you guys weren't able to finish off on that kill, at least for a little. But in the meantime, I believe Death got enough picks for you guys to keep that going. But either way, yeah, that was just I wasn't sure because we've seen you guys do both, which is where you come out and you do it just for the quick spawn kill. And then in this game in particular, we saw you guys just stick with it outright, and it honestly worked for a while. So I wasn't sure what necessarily went into that. But either way, definitely interesting to know that it really was just one of those things where it was like, ah, screw it, we'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
And so with that, Riri, we'll let you get out of here on this. Is there anything you want to say about the match, or anyone you want to thank or dedicate this one to?
Happy
Well,
birthday, Don Tony.
Yeah, I would like to dedicate this to Don Tony's birthday. He's finally turning 92 today. I'm so happy for him.
92 and still pumping it out on
And
the main
still
tank.
kicking.
what a beast.
Yep.
Riri, congratulations. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being part of the season.
Thank you so much.
And so with that, we'll wrap up here. So again, 6ixGuns wins the sweep 3-0 over Torbulance. So for myself, for Matt, the on color commentary, for our MVP Riri and the winning 6ixGuns team, for our producer Sunmilk, for everyone that joined us in the pregame show, Rins, Temp, for Shapes, great work into this, and for everyone who made this possible tonight, thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay safe during these trying times. Follow us on Twitter for continuing updates of when we will be back with our next great event. And with that, our production team here wishes you a good night, be safe, and we will see you all soon.